So when COVID landed, we were really pleased at Pentacle because we knew we'd built so much experience. We started QUBE in 2009. We knew that the whole world only knew about some very simple ways to interact. They were used to webinars, which are strange one-way events. They were used to social media, which is one way, but it's only ever interacting with data. You never actually get human experience. So businesses would struggle to be able to do many of the things which they, so we were going, yay, this is great for us. We knew that in terms of content and learning, people hadn't really thought that bit through, and more important in terms of capability and application. And we knew there was a real need to interact with people, and we've been working on QUBE now since 2009. So we were sort of really patting ourselves on the back, thinking, hey, it's all going to be great. And then as the little red monster took control, what we discovered was we were completely wrong. Because what happened was, all of a sudden, people looked at what they had, and in a panic, the IT directors who'd spent billions on trying to buy technology started getting people to use it. So all of a sudden, conferencing, video conferencing became really popular. And there were adverts everywhere, tons of money with which were promoting things like this. Look at these beautiful, handsome looking, good looking people. And we thought, oh my goodness, our avatars are quite straightforward and not so cute and good looking as these people. But as you all know, once we got into this world, it started to not look quite the same. For a start, you lost all the sensory inputs which you had. Before you could see people 3D, you could smell them, you could taste food together, you could hear them in 3D, you could feel them, touch them, you knew where things were and everything else. All of a sudden, the moment you went to video conferencing only, what you discovered is that was gone, or rather part of the site was gone. Let's say part of the site was gone because you couldn't actually see in 3 dimensions. You couldn't do that one. You definitely couldn't do that one. You could hear them, but only in directly 1 dimension, not even Dolby, not even 3-dimensional, and all the others are gone. So how do you interact with them? Basically, all your senses were removed. So the ability to be able to feel, to understand, suddenly made much more difficult. And then when you met your actual mates, they didn't look like the good-looking people. They looked a bit more like this. Many of them are the introverts. They hate looking at themselves, let alone at other people. And what was worse was you got Zoom fatigue, and no one seemed to know why, but I can tell you why, because we suffered this years ago when we tried Adobe Connect. You see, predators, as you can see on the top row, they have eyes in front. Prey animals have eyes on their side. So when you're staring at a predator, you think you're going to get eaten. And what we've done by moving to this conferencing idea was basically giving people 8 hours a day to stare at a predator who was actually trying to eat them. And that was why people were so worn out. But we weren't discouraged because we knew we could actually do better. So what happened on QUBE was we had the concept that we were trying to create an environment where people would laugh, where really they would feel they were there, so that it was a lovely experience, even if they're in different places. And you can see on the screen, I'm teaching them the resilience technique of the horizontal pencil. But we also knew that we had to be able to bridge things because people were struggling to look at themselves, especially the introverts. Introverts were going to be avatars represented on QUBE. They hate looking at themselves. They hate making avatars of themselves even more. Remember that. There's this thing called an uncanny valley. The less something looks human, the more creepy it gets. And then when it's not human, completely human, it starts looking okay again. And so we knew we had this challenge. So if you look here, that probably feels better than this rather weird looking thing. But avatars in computers, however good they are, they're a bit strange. So in the end, we went for really simple avatars for many reasons, one of which was not just introverts don't like making avatars, but imagine you're slightly more tubby in real life than you would like to be. Do you make your avatar, which is supposed to look like you, also tubby, knowing that everyone's looking at you? Of course not. So when people came into our world, we had to make sure we could make up for all the lost senses. So I highlighted for you already all the senses which we'd lost. Well, how are we going to do it? Well, we had to think a different way of doing it because we knew we still wouldn't be able to do smell, even though we were able to be in a 3-dimensional environment. We probably couldn't do taste, but we could make sound 3-dimensional. Once you have 3-dimensional sound, your brain can't tell if you're there or not. It feels really as if you're there. We could make it easy for people to point at things like I'm doing with this green laser. So all of a sudden, I'm moving things around, you're moving things around. We feel like we're in the same space. And also we could start to make people feel things like, where am I? Where is my body? by things like gathering people in a circle and letting them work together. And with vision, although it's not three-dimensional, we had tricks like using lots and lots of lines to try and make sure people knew where they were. On top of that, we could use software to give people autonomy and agency. I have just been wandering around this room. If you were on CUBE in this cubicle, you could go wherever you wanted, whenever you wanted. You could chat to people, you could speak. We always speak first. That's the first mode of communication. We can text, we can write in parallel, we can co-create. You know, as I put this here, you can put your own idea. Maybe you've got an idea you want to represent with the sticky, there you go. And on top of that, we also knew that we could do things like make absolutely certain, I'll just write the word hi here, just for a bit of fun. We could make sure absolutely certain that we gave people tools which they could use together. They're called performance enhancement tools, people engagement tools, possibility exploration tools, or PETs. We built it as a super environment. So they're campuses of cubicles. The cubicles contain the tools and the platforms, so that rather than thinking about things as a tool, we give people a whole world. The nickname people have been using is a betterverse. Culture is central to it, and the tools really make everything come together. So that's a quick explanation of CUBE and how it all comes together. I hope you enjoyed that. Thank you. I've got to turn this recording off now. I can never remember how to do it. There you go. Bye.